going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fans View podcast. Today is so special. I'm having one of my favorite people on. She's a NASCAR media pro. She's a storyteller. She's a podcaster. She's a card connoisseur. She's a friend, and she's one of the most authentic voices in motorsports today. The first time she was here, we learned her story. This time, we're going to dive into what's next, what's going on behind the scenes, and what 2026 looks like for somebody that works in the motorsports field. Please welcome back, guys, Miss Jessie Punch. J Punch, how are you doing tonight?
Oh my gosh, that was so kind. That was the kindest introduction I think I've ever had. Thank you. I'm like tearing up over here. Oh my gosh, that was really nice of you. But I'm good. Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to chat motorsports. I love keeping up with all of your podcast posts throughout the season. So I was very happy to get the call to come back. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you on here. You are one of my favorite guests, if not the absolute favorite. I know what I won't be doing, and that's calling you for tech support, because if people knew that, I think we started this call about 45 minutes ago, guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you said you're one of my favorites. I could feel myself dropping on the favorites list quickly. Every time we had an issue going on over here, but like we got here, okay? I don't want to speak too soon, but we're here.
Yeah.
Where we're going, we'll find out.
Who's to say? It's an adventure. We're on an adventure. It's just two pals on an adventure together.
Only had to phone one friend and a little bit of AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
it's a Wednesday night. Let's party, kids. Since you were on the show the last time, a couple things have changed. What's changed the most in your world, be it professionally, personally?
Probably my hair color. I know that's obviously a joke, but I do have pink hair now, so that is different. That's new. No, on a serious note, a lot has changed. You're right. Going into this season in particular is probably the biggest change that I've had in my professional career, at least since working in motorsports. I have signed a deal with IndyCar, so I'm going to be working for IndyCar this season. Yes, I'm so excited. I'm doing their social content, so I'll be kind of the voice for their social platforms and YouTube, and just helping fans get to know their drivers a little better, and kind of just helping push the IndyCar scene into a new audience. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's probably, behind the pink hair, the biggest change that I'm going through right now, which I'm realizing, are they correlated? Maybe is this something I talked to my therapist about potentially? We'll see.
There might be like some kind of identity thing going on, but it's cool. It's cool. Like I said, we're partying. It's fine.
That's right. We're partying. It's Wednesday.
Obviously, and I'm glad you mentioned your therapist, because I know a therapist will say you have to look into the past to kind of see into your future. Let's look into your past a little bit. Is there a moment from the 2025 season that kind of sticks out to you, whether it be emotional or good or bad or whatever it may be? Is there something in 2025 that's going to stick with you for a while?
Well, that's a really great question, because
that's what we do here.
This guy knows what he's doing. Let me tell you. All right. No, it's great though, because I'm actually, I'm glad you asked me that question, because it's forcing me to reflect a little bit. And I think that's something that I probably should be better at, is taking the time to kind of reflect, and not only on just, the season and what I've done, but my accomplishments, or recognizing them as accomplishments. So I appreciate you asking. The first thing that comes to mind is some of the Rollin' with the Punches podcast interviews that we did. I love every interview that we've done. It's really hard to pick favorites, but in regard to this question, getting to go to Ray Evernham's shop and sit up there overlooking his just unreal car collection. There's no words to describe it. And then, a few months later, sitting down with Larry McReynolds, who has always been a buddy of mine, who I love and have respected for so long, but to just get to sit with these legends in such a different capacity and getting to know them on such a different level.
Right.
Those were some experiences from last year that I kind of really will always look back on and think, wow, that's really cool. And we did that. My small but mighty little podcast team that we've got going on over here, we did that, and I'm proud of that. So
I love that, and I really enjoyed, from a personal standpoint, I really enjoyed that Larry Mack interview, because I feel like you pulled something out of him that you don't always see with Larry Mack, because he's always kind of buttoned up. But Yeah, that was a lot of fun as I
Thank you.
refocus here.
No, that
Um,
means a lot. That's a big compliment. I really appreciate that because that's what we try to do. Is especially somebody like Larry Mack. I think we've had Larry Mack speak on a lot of moments, but let's hear
right,
about Larry Mack in those moments. You know, getting to
right.
know him kind of from a different viewpoint was very special.
For sure, for sure. And I encourage anybody watching this or listening to this, after you've listened to it,
Of
go
course.
check out Rolling with the Punches. We can't promo that enough and plug that
Thank
enough.
you. But finish
Um,
here first. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
finish here
yeah,
first,
yeah.
and
I,
then
I
yeah.
need those watch hours, guys. I gotta get monetized. You've now lived, multiple seasons in different roles. I think you've done everything but sell popcorn at this point. Um,
Sounds about
does the
right.
does the grind feel different today than it did maybe early on in your career?
Absolutely. Going back to the change that I've, gone through in the last couple seasons, one of those was moving to an independent role. So kind of more on the business side of things for
Mm,
9 seasons, I worked for NASCAR as an employee of NASCAR. So I came in as a production assistant and with the expectation of being a production assistant, kind of with this side, like if y'all can get your work done, you can get on camera, you can play on camera, you can do that content. So going from that and building what I was so fortunate to build with the people that I was with at the time internally, and seeing that grow was really so rewarding. But then in the last 2 years, moving to an independent role, so stepping away from being a full-time employee and working technically for myself, so everything I do is contracted. It's just a whole different world, and that's what a lot of people, most people in the industry do. That's the format with which they operate. But it's a big leap,
right,
and it's just a big change, both on a rewarding standpoint of knowing like I've reached a place where I'm working for myself and I'm every bit of energy and passion and adrenaline and ambition that I'm putting into this is for me and the
right,
greater good of where I'm going. It's exciting. It's also stressful because that consistency, I should say, and having something to depend on is gone.
right.
So the grind feels completely different now because of that change, but it's been good for me because I've always been the kind of person that is the team player, right? Like anything I can think of, I'm like, but let's take it to the group first. And like, let's see if like everybody could benefit and like how we all want to do it. And it was difficult for me at first to kind of have this mind shift of like, no, you got to put yourself first now. I mean, you
Right.
might have a great idea, but so go execute it for you. Don't it's not about everybody else, not about being a team player. You can still work hard to better the overall sport and
Right.
bring the content you want to bring for the reason that you want to bring it, but you got to put yourself first. So it's been a little bit of a weird adjustment for me, but I'm very blessed to have reached a point in my career to make that change.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about next with you. You've talked about transitioning kind of from I don't want to say out of NASCAR to Indy, but maybe a little less on the NASCAR side to focus a little more on the Indy side. But maybe from a fan aspect more so than anything, you've been in this grind. NASCAR media feels like it's in a kind of a transition era between all the streaming platforms and deals, the digital era that everything is kind of embraced, new broadcast partners. Do you feel like it's a reset year behind the scenes? Again, in NASCAR, but also in Indy. Indy's really trying to get out there this year, it seems like.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a reset couple of years right now. And reset is there, but also kind of just reevaluate, reshift,
Hmm.
relearn. There's a lot there that is still coming into play, I think, as the puzzle pieces will continue to fall over the next couple seasons. Because you're right, NASCAR, especially from a broadcast standpoint, underwent a ton of change over the last year or two. We're still gonna kind of continue to see what works and what doesn't as we try that change. On the IndyCar side, I can speak more to where they're headed and what they're really focusing on this year, just given that that's kind of where the meetings that I've been in, heading into 2026. But my understanding there is it's exciting because from a bird's eye view, right? Like open wheel racing has had this boom over the last however many years. And a lot of it with the not average race fan or people that don't really even know racing due to
Right.
things like the Formula One Netflix show, different elements like that have really brought Formula One or open wheel racing to the forefront, which is great. But it's also, we see now even more so the star power that Formula One carries. They definitely have celebrified their way, out of this relatability,
Right.
which is the identity that they choose to carry. I mean, that's how they want to carry themselves. So for IndyCar, there's this opportunity now where there's a lot of new race fans that are experiencing racing for the first time that are clinging to certain personalities or whatever it may be that they're interested in on the Formula One side. Well, we've got IndyCar. This is a way more accessible Formula One. Like, you can have a favorite driver over here and you can meet them. You don't have to like watch them walk through paparazzi. Like, you can do
Right.
that, but you can also meet them. And it's just this idea that really trying to open up IndyCar to new markets of people that have already maybe like cast a little bit of a line. They're not really sure what they're fishing for or where they're fishing, but it's out there. And we're like on our end trying to kind of, meet them halfway and say like, hey, we have so much to offer you.
I love it.
So I'm excited. Yeah. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting too, and I don't want to speak too much because I don't know specifically the numbers here, but it's my understanding that they saw a really big interest from younger females.
Okay.
Which I think is just really cool because, for whatever reason that everybody might be interested in coming to racing, the idea that we're going to have more younger female eyes on the sport, and the idea that I get to be somebody to help bring them in and teach them and show them the way and get them excited about motorsports is not something that I take for granted. So I'm excited to kind of, hopefully play off of that new statistic that they've been able to learn in this last year and see where we can maybe bring in some new badass girl race fans to the
Hell
IndyCar world and the
yeah.
NASCAR world too. All of it.
I love that. I love that for you.
Thank you.
And you kind of just touched on it a little bit there. What part of your job in 2026 excites you the most? Obviously, you're very passionate about it.
I am passionate about it. I appreciate you noticing that. So much of this job excites me. I actually, when IndyCar came to me toward the end of last season and started having these conversations about doing some stuff with them, the ideas and content, just general ideas and where they wanted to go, it was like such an answered prayer. Like, I would be lying if I said I hadn't been praying for a long time for change. Sounds really aggressive, but just there were things that I've been wanting to do. Like, I there were stories. I'm a storyteller. You mentioned it in my open. Like, that's something I really take pride in. Like, there are so many stories to tell and I want to tell them. And there are so many cool things to do with the track and I want to execute them. And with IndyCar coming to me and presenting these ideas that were things I felt like I had been, had on my heart wanting to do for so long, it just felt like such a perfect God pairing right there. And that got me really excited. So some of the series and things in particular that I'll be doing this year for them, IndyCar lore. So kind of a very like young Gen Z-esque internet style way of teaching people about the series and the history and why it's important that we're going racing at the places that we are, as well as just each week giving some post race things you may have missed or storylines really. So like, here's who's on the podium, but here's everything else that you should know coming out of the race weekend. So just little things like that that may not seem groundbreaking, but they were sitting on my heart for so long, and then it just felt like it was just such an answered prayer when they came and asked me to do it. So I'm excited to kind of see these prayers come to life.
Very cool. That's so awesome.
Thank
You know,
you.
you have grown into such a trusted voice, in NASCAR specifically, but in motorsports. Do you find now that drivers and teams maybe treat you a little bit differently in the things they say and the things you're kind of privy to these days? Do you feel like that's changed over time?
Definitely think that yes, I'll say yes because I think there's a earned respect that comes there with showing
Mhm.
up every week, and not just every week but every year, and having done your homework and asking questions that they can tell you know what you're doing, and that they can there's an amount of respect that is earned over working enough time in the sport, especially within one traveling circus of NASCAR in particular. So I do like to think that drivers trust me a little more, or maybe not to tell me things. I definitely have people that I'm closer with within the field. I have
Mhm.
some friends that know that they can tell me whatever, and I'm never gonna go make a reel about it or whatever. Maybe a TikTok short or a YouTube short, but not a reel at least.
Love it.
But just in general, yes, I would like to believe that if I approach a driver with a microphone at this point in my career, that they understand that I'm coming to them with an immense amount of respect and homework and appreciation, and that I'm there to do my job to the best of its ability, and that there's no questions on there and like, who's this girl, who's the little
The
pink
purple
haired
hair.
girl that's coming at me with this microphone. They know it's me at this point. So which
I
is
love
something
that.
that I'm excited to do in the IndyCar paddock, if you will.
Absolutely.
um
Absolutely.
yeah, it'll be nice to kind of get to know a whole new group of people and earn that respect with them.
I love that. What do you think is the biggest misconception about motorsports media? Obviously, a lot of my questions tend to skew towards NASCAR and NASCAR media, but what do you think the biggest fan misconception might be about, media as it relates to motorsports?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a great question because I don't
I
have an
love
answer. I
I
really don't.
stumped you.
You did stump me there. Like rarely am I stumped, but today it's between you and technology. I'm at a loss. I don't know. Um it
That's
is a
okay.
good question. I because I think it's not the first thing that comes to mind is how difficult it is to get
Mhm.
into that world, but I don't know that
Mm,
that's a misconception. I think it is and it isn't. It is very difficult to get into that media motorsports world, but on the flip
preach.
side, I mean, media motorsports, anything, I should say, really, it's not easy to break in there, but it can be done. So it's kind of a tough. It's not a misconception because it's true, but it's also
Right.
not impossible. So if I had to come up with an answer, that's probably what I'd say. But that is a great question. I'm gonna have to think on that. I'll get back to you.
I love it. You're just rolling with the punches.
Always,
And
it's
you
what I
know
can
what?
do.
That brings me to my next topic. I am the Segway King. No, I'm kidding.
I told you
But
guys, he knows what he's doing.
honestly, I'm very excited to talk to you about rolling with the punches. Your podcast, it's always felt different. It's honestly, and I don't want to blow smoke up your butt because God knows, it's always kind of what I've wanted to model my show after in the fans view, because when you sit down with your guests, you always come off as maybe a more knowledgeable than most, but a fan at heart. So it always kind of seems like a passion project rather than a side project. How has that kind of evolved even since last year, since you were on the show?
It's Well, first off, I think that you do whatever it is you're trying to be. I think you're being great at it. I don't know that you need to ever try to model it after me because what you're doing is stellar. But I see what you're saying, and you're great. You're right. This isn't an interview. It's
Right.
a chance to. We're all people. Like we're just breaking down the barriers, we're sitting down and we're having a conversation. And I think as
Exactly.
long as you're invested with wanting the best for this person in the time that you're sitting with them, then get what you get. You're going to have a great conversation. There's no objective really. That's always kind of been how we approach our interviews. And it's
For
funny
sure.
because to other people they may have different approaches. I've had feedback here or there in the past on certain interviews even that I've been really proud of, and I've had some people maybe more within the industry that see things a little differently have said things like, well, I wish you would have pushed him more on this, or you could have asked him about that. And it's like, but that's not what this is about. It's not
Right.
about the sensationalization of current events or getting that best soundbite that everyone's looking for. There's a
Right.
place for that,
Hmm.
but not that's not what my show is
And
about.
TMZ takes it up. We don't need to hear that.
Exactly. That's being handled somewhere else. Like,
Right.
I want Larry Mack to know that if he's going to sit down at that table with me, and it goes back to what you said a moment ago about kind of earning that respect over the years, that
Right.
he trusts that I'm not going to sit down at that table and go and put him on the spot, or
Exactly.
try to get that clip out of him. Like, I'm here because I want to tell his story because I have the utmost respect for him. So that's kind of always been how we've operated, and I don't think things have changed. If anything, I think I'm excited to continue to grow with that credibility, maybe as a word, but the expectation of people understanding what they're in for when they sit down with me. And so they're excited to sit
Sure.
down and be vulnerable or open up a little bit, and know that this is a safe space. I won't make you
Yeah.
cry. Not too much.
Only a little bit. Only
Only a
just a
little
smidge.
bit.
Just a
Yeah.
smidge and a
Yeah.
half. Do you feel, more creatively fulfilled now? More so than early in your career. It sounds like obviously the passion you talk about IndyCar and the things you're going to be able to do. It sounds like it. So I kind of know the answer to this question, but I'm going to put it to you anyway. Do you feel more creatively fulfilled now than maybe earlier in your career?
I do. And yes, you're right. Because of being able to work on some projects that I felt are things I've been wanting to do for a while, but also because I feel that I know myself a little better now at this place in my career.
Right.
I'm a little more confident in who I am as somebody in this media racing crazy whatever it is world. And in that I have a better understanding of what I love and what I love to work on and what fulfills me. So I think the combination of a lot of those things, getting these answered prayers and also getting to a place where I feel confident in what I like to do and not only what I like to do, but what I feel like I'm good at or what I bring to the table. You know, what my
Right.
place in this I say this media world, but what I bring to the table in regard to content. Like who am I in this world of content? You know, there's racing content all over the place for you to watch. So what is it that I bring in all of that? I feel like I'm more in tune with that now, so I get to feel a little more fulfilled when I'm putting that content out there.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to put a hard question to you, and I don't
Oof,
think either
okay.
of us want to live in this world, but
I'm
say
having
Nat,
technical difficulties. I gotta go. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I
don't
know.
joke, because that might become a reality. We're not done yet. If NASCAR just disappears tomorrow, if IndyCar disappears tomorrow, if racing, motorsports disappeared tomorrow, what kind of storytelling would you pivot to? Do you think?
Mm, another great question. Truly, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I really am not. I promise. Um,
That's
it's
okay.
a
It's a
great
big ass. Go ahead
question.
and blow some smoke.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, I'm doing it a little bit, but I just want a good edit out of this, you know. Um, no, I think that it goes back to the fact that we're all people, right? Like, I think that I am so blessed to have an opportunity to highlight people in this industry because of the job that I have or the relationships that I've built. And I recognize that there's so much influence there because the people that are in these roles have already garnered, you know, so much respect and influence just by the nature of what their jobs are. But that's not to say that there aren't ways that people can relate to others and others can inspire people without having these high level jobs. I don't know if what I'm saying is making a ton of sense, but I guess to answer your question is I would just tell quote normal people's stories, right? Like so for me,
Right.
mental health is a huge part of my life, for better and for worse. I love it. I've dealt with, you know, different mental health issues for years now, 10 plus years now. But I'm finally at a place where I have a better understanding of not only myself and where I'm going and how to regulate that, but how I can use my experiences, again, better and worse, to help inspire other people. And so, using that as an example, if you already look up to somebody else, a race car driver, an athlete, whatever it is, when they sit down and tell you their story of having struggled through something, there's an immediate sense of understanding and relatability because you already look up to them.
Right.
And that's what I mean when I say I'm very blessed to be able to highlight these people. But take all of that away tomorrow, and the guy bagging your groceries at the grocery store has a phenomenal story. I guarantee you. Like I would put money on it. It just takes somebody to sit down and ask him and understand how to ask him. And then listen. That's the second step
Yes.
is asking
Yes.
and being willing to listen. So,
There you
long story short, I'm blessed to be able to tell the stories of the people that I am, but take it all away tomorrow and I'm still going to tell stories of everybody because they have so much to offer. We just don't know it because no one's asking.
I thought you're such a gem. I love it.
Well, thank you.
As we as we talk about motorsports in general, and we talk about that swap over to Indy, full time. What are you most looking forward to as this year kind of gets kicked off in earnest?
Oh, I love a challenge. I'm
Oh,
looking forward to getting to, you know, in this role, in this job, in anything you do, you're always learning, or at least you should be, at least. Not even in this role, in this job, in anything in this life, you should always be learning. I think that's important. But when you work in something like media and you got to keep up with news and you got to keep up with driver swaps and announcements and all that, you are constantly just engulfing yourself in this knowledge. And I'm excited to take on something new, doing so, but in a new space, learning people again on a deeper level than, of course, just, watching IndyCar broadcasts, like really being involved in a space where, like we talk about the personalities and kind of growing and earning that respect. Like these are a lot of guys that I know on the NASCAR side or the, wheel and modified side, their personalities. I know how to ask them questions. I know who to ask what. I know who I'm going to get one answer from, who I'm going to get, a story from. I know all that. I don't know that yet in the IndyCar paddock. And that's exciting to me to kind of have this challenge ahead of me of having so much to learn, not only on the stats and the sport and keeping up every week, but on the interviewing side. Like it's kind of like a new challenge to have all these new subjects that I get to learn and figure out how to best highlight who they are as people. It's a fun challenge. I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Before we pivot off of racing and we talk about kind of the human side of this again, I want some J Punch hot takes. Again, and I have to preface this by saying I know that we're moving away from the NASCAR space somewhat to go to the IndyCar space.
Always be in the NASCAR space. I do appreciate the disclaimer because to the point I just made, a lot of my study time has been diverted now to open wheel. I'm learning. I have a lot to learn over there, but yes, you're absolutely right. I just don't want to, I'm not going anywhere. Don't think you're getting rid of me, y'all.
Your last name's
right.
still your last name's still Punch. That NASCAR blood will always be in there. So
can't get rid of me that easily.
We're gonna take it to you're a fan like me, and I would love
yes.
I would love the female perspective here.
Hey guys, it's Aurora Tevez, and if you love pro wrestling, you need to check out the Fans View podcast. They don't just cover wrestling; they bring in guests from racing, MMA, comedy, and so much more. Make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
More creatively fulfilled now, more so than early in your career. It sounds like obviously the passion you talk about IndyCar and the things you're going to be able to do. It sounds like it. So I kind of know the answer to this question, but I'm going to put it to you anyway. Do you feel more creatively fulfilled now than maybe earlier in your career?
I do. And yes, you're right. Because of being able to work on some projects that I felt are things I've been wanting to do for a while, but also because I feel that I know myself a little better now at this place in my career. I'm a little more confident in who I am as somebody in this media racing crazy whatever it is world. And in that I have a better understanding of what I love and what I love to work on and what fulfills me. So I think the combination of a lot of those things, getting these answered prayers and also getting to a place where I feel confident in what I like to do and not only what I like to do, but what I feel like I'm good at or what I bring to the table. What my place in this I say this media world, but what I bring to the table in regard to content. Like who am I in this world of content? There's racing content all over the place for you to watch. So what is it that I bring in all of that? I feel like I'm more in tune with that now. So I get to feel a little more fulfilled when I'm putting that content out there.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to put a hard question to you, and I don't think either of us want to live in this world, but
I'm having technical difficulties. I gotta go. I'm just kidding.
Don't joke.
I know.
Joke, 'cause that might become a reality. We're not done yet. If NASCAR just disappears tomorrow, if IndyCar disappears tomorrow, if racing, motorsports disappeared tomorrow, what kind of storytelling would you pivot to, do you think?
Another great question. Truly, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I really am not. I promise.
That's okay.
It's a great question.
Go ahead and blow some smoke.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, I'm doing it a little bit, but I just want a good edit out of this, No, I think that it goes back to the fact that we're all people, right? Like, I think that I am so blessed to have an opportunity to highlight people in this industry because of the job that I have or the relationships that I've built. And I recognize that there's so much influence there because the people that are in these roles have already garnered, so much respect and influence just by the nature of what their jobs are. But that's not to say that there aren't ways that people can relate to others and others can inspire people without having these high level jobs. I don't know if what I'm saying is making a ton of sense, but I guess to answer your question is I would just tell, quote, normal people's stories, right? Like, so for me,
Right.
mental health is a huge part of my life, for better and for worse. I love it. I've dealt with, different mental health issues for years now, 10 plus years now. But I'm finally at a place where I have a better understanding of not only myself and where I'm going and how to regulate that, but how I can use my experiences, again, better and worse, to help inspire other people. And so, using that as an example, if you already look up to somebody else, a race car driver, an athlete, whatever it is, when they sit down and tell you their story of having struggled through something, there's an immediate sense of understanding and relatability because you already look up to them.
Right.
And that's what I mean when I say I'm very blessed to be able to highlight these people. But take all of that away tomorrow, and the guy bagging your groceries at the grocery store has a phenomenal story. I guarantee you. Like, I would put money on it. It just takes somebody to sit down and ask him and understand how to ask him. And then listen. That's the second step,
Yes.
is asking
Yes.
and being willing to listen. So,
There you
long story short, I'm blessed to be able to tell the stories of the people that I am, but take it all away tomorrow and I'm still going to tell stories of everybody because they have so much to offer. We just don't know it because no one's asking.
I love, you're such a gem. I love it.
Well, thank you.
As we talk about motorsports in general, and we talk about that swap over to Indy, full time. What are you most looking forward to as this year kind of gets kicked off in earnest?
I love a challenge. I'm
Oh,
looking forward to getting to, you know, in this role, in this job, in anything you do, you're always learning, or at least you should be, at least. Not even in this role, in this job, in anything in this life, you should always be learning. I think that's important. But when you work in something like media and you got to keep up with news and you got to keep up with driver swaps and announcements and all that, you are constantly just engulfing yourself in this knowledge. And I'm excited to take on something new, doing so, but in a new space, learning people again on a deeper level than, of course, just, watching indie car broadcasts, like really being involved in a space where, like we talk about the personalities and kind of growing and earning that respect. Like, these are a lot of guys that I know on the NASCAR side or the, wheel and modified side, their personalities. I know how to ask them questions. I know who to ask what. I know who I'm going to get one answer from, who I'm going to get, a story from. I know all that. I don't know that yet in the IndyCar paddock. And that's exciting to me to kind of have this challenge ahead of me of having so much to learn, not only on the stats and the sport and keeping up every week, but on the interviewing side. Like, it's kind of like a new challenge to have all these new subjects that I get to learn and figure out how to best highlight who they are as people. It's a fun challenge. I'm really looking forward to that.
absolutely. Before we pivot off of racing and we talk about kind of the human side of this again, I want some J Punch hot takes. Again, and I have to preface this by saying I know that we're moving away from the NASCAR space somewhat to go to the IndyCar space.
Always be in the NASCAR space. I do appreciate the disclaimer because,
Right.
to the point I just made, a lot of my study time has been diverted now to open wheel. I'm learning. I have a lot to learn over there, but yes, you're absolutely right. I just don't want to. I'm not going anywhere. Don't think you're getting rid of me, y'all.
Your last
you're
name's
right.
still your last name's still Punch. That NASCAR blood will always be in there. So
Can't get rid of me that easily.
we're gonna take it to you're a fan like me, and I would love
Yes.
I would love the female perspective here. Door number one. We have to talk about it. It's what everybody's been talking about since Daytona. It's the Natalie Decker situation. And we're not here. Let me put this disclaimer out. We are not here to throw anybody under the bus. We're just journalists, folks, and we're reporting the facts. Carson Elledge had some things to say. I think, to paraphrase, she called it embarrassing. She wasn't super thrilled with the whole tarps off for the boys situation with Bert Kreischer, the wreck, all of that stuff. Do you have a take on the controversy surrounding Natalie Decker?
Natalie is a friend of mine. I do love Natalie. And one of the reasons people, over the years when I say I love Natalie, if people say why, I say because she is unapologetically Natalie Decker. Like, every day she wakes up, she is nothing but Natalie. And she goes to bed knowing that she was genuine to herself all day long. And I think that you gotta respect that. Like, I've always loved that about her. And on the same note, she hasn't changed. Natalie has been Natalie. Of course, she's become a mother. We've all grown and matured in certain ways. But at the end of the day, like, she's never pretended to be anything different than who she is now. She's just the mom version of Natalie, you know? So, in reference, though, to the response to everything last weekend, that's where I've always struggled a little bit with the media side of things, right? Because I think it goes back to a lot of what we've been talking about with what role I want to bring to the table and who I want to be in this world and how I, carry my content. And I struggle to have such strong opinions on anything that anyone does, to be honest with you, because I'd rather just sit down and ask them about it and hear their side of things. And maybe that's, probably to my detriment a little bit in this industry, that I should be a little bit better about sitting down and being more forward. But I don't feel as strongly as everybody else, I think, has been about Natalie. Natalie does have an expectation to uphold when it comes to being a woman in racing. There's, whether we want to ignore it or not, there are eyes on that. There's this idea that she is a female in racing, she's not just another driver in the field. So there are certain expectations that are looked at for her to be a role model, to be a certain way. But I don't think that Natalie, in anything that she's doing, she's operating in a way that she thinks is negligent or thinks is bad. Like, I think Natalie genuinely, everything she does, she thinks she's doing to the best of her ability, and the best of her ability to being true to herself. And I'm saying all that more so in reference to the Burt photo,
Right.
because I think it's important to know, a lot of people are going to look at that differently. Is that something I would have done? Hell no. But let me tell you something, I also don't look like Natalie Decker, so dang girl, like, we can't all pretend like she didn't look dang good in that photo. Like, we all know she looks good, including Natalie, including Burt. Now, everyone's different, right? Like, would I have done it? No. But am I going to be one to sit here then and say that she's a bad person because she saw a fun opportunity in the media, with a...
Right.
No, like, I just don't think that's fair. What I think is really neat is Natalie announced that she's selling a t-shirt. I don't know if you saw this, but she's selling a t-shirt kind of in response to all of the criticism. Backlash, yes. Which, again, beautiful, because what does every NASCAR driver do when they're called out for something or called something? They're like, design a t-shirt, we're dropping it on Monday. So Natalie said, let's do it. And it's a bra on the shirt. It's literally just a bra. It's obviously referencing that moment. You'll have to go look at the details, but the sales from the shirt, her and her mom are going to buy bras to donate. So they're really taking this moment and embracing it. And
Good for her.
When you have a response like that, who am I to sit here and critique anything about what she does? Because, again, she's been true to herself, and she's going to use it as an opportunity to put some more good into this world. And look, I can't drive a truck, I can't drive a race car, so it would be wrong for me to sit here and really truly critique what happened on that incident with Sam Mayer.
Right.
It wasn't the best look, Nat. I love you so much, but it was a tough one to watch. But again, I'm not in the seat there. Like, I can't. I don't want to say anything, because then you're going to see me in the simulator, and it's going to be a really scary thing. It's going to come back to bite me real hard in the ass. So
yeah, and the Fox broadcast, and not necessarily that they did anything wrong, but they didn't do her any favors playing that audio. So
for sure. And you know what? There's a lot of things that go into being a race car driver.
Absolutely.
Talent is very important. That's not to say that it's not, but I think it would be discrediting Natalie a little bit to say she doesn't deserve to drive a race car or a truck or whatever at any level because of that specific incident. I think that's a little unfair.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And we're gonna leave that at that, because again, I'm not here to say right, wrong, or indifferent. I wanted a female opinion, and I got it. So, moving on to my second hot topic that I had for you, the other thing that people have been up in arms about since Daytona, it seems like it's all negative. I hate that. We're going to have to brighten this up after this. But Cletus McFarland, he's been making some waves, as Cletus does. People have really kind of called into question the whole licensing process that NASCAR has, what some people call the pay to play in the ARCA series. Do you have a take either way on Cletus being involved in NASCAR as a whole, but specifically in ARCA in the truck series?
I think it's funny because I just made the comment and said there's a lot of things that go into being a race car driver, and talent is, only one of them.
Right.
But talent's a big part. It is a big one of them, right? Yeah, like it's number one if of any of them. So, that being said, that's comes into play here, and it's absolutely unfair to say Cletus is not talented. That's not what I'm
Right.
saying here. But when you're looking at what does Cletus bring to NASCAR? Cletus brings a lot to NASCAR. You can't deny that at all. I mean, the media attention that he has brought, he does a lot of wonderful things, philanthropic things, as far as, being somebody who's in the forefront of putting NASCAR in a great light. He's fun. He has fun with it. He gets clicks, right? Like he does, he does what you want out of an ambassador for the sport. And that goes way beyond the ARCA series, because people that are watching these Cletus McFarland clips aren't understanding that he's racing ARCA. They see NASCAR driver Cletus McFarland, right?
Yep.
So he spans way beyond just this NASCAR world, even further down this ARCA world.
Right.
That being said, you're right. There is this element, though, of being able to hold your own in the field, and it's a balance. It's great to bring clicks. It's great to bring eyes and to have this personality that, is the definition of NASCAR driver. Like, he's really playing up this character, right? And it's great. But there's also we're racing cars out there. Like, we can't forget that this is real. I mean, there's a safety element involved in this. And to your point about this quote pay to play, viewpoint of it, goes beyond Cletus. I'm using him as an example, but for anybody, there should be a standard of how long you've been in that car, how much testing, you've had, if you can hold your own and do so in a way that's safe to everybody else around you, because there is too much money and too much on the line safety wise to put somebody in there who's not prepared. So it is tough, because what he's bringing in public attention and in fun, he's not right now bringing in on track talent. And going back to what my goal is as somebody in this media world, it's to put these guys in the best light. Now, at some point, we're not setting him up for success. We're setting him up for failure, because more and more eyes are getting on him to put him out there to not run well because he doesn't have the experience. So it is kind of this tough catch-22, right? Of being able to embrace what he's bringing to the sport, but also set him up for success and giving him what he needs, even if what he needs, unfortunately, is told that he can't race in the level he's wants to be racing at right now. So it's tough. It is tough. But at the end of the day, I want people to see those Cletus McFarland videos and then go look at Cletus McFarland and see great finishes, right? And not see a clown. Because at some point, that's what it starts to become if you can't back up the fun of it all with on-track talent.
Absolutely. Very well said. Yeah. And it's funny, you said just then, it's not fair. And there was something we talked about a little bit off camera that I wanted to bring up, speaking of not fair, and that is the roasting of your poor, poor, sweet father that we had a little while back on socials. I told you before we started recording, I literally LOL'd, just died laughing, because on one of your it was either TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever it may have been. For those that don't know, you've kind of gotten a little bit further into the trading card world, and your lovely father was sitting at his kitchen counter, doing some fan service, signing cards for fans, and his pink-haired daughter came in there and just roasted the poor man about being like 3 wives deep or whatever it was.
From the top rope, just totally caught him off guard. Poor dad.
just uncalled for. This poor man. He's
Yeah, I
given so
recognize
much to
that.
us, and Jessie she keeps him humble. God bless. But you know, how much fun is it to be able to bounce stuff like that off your father and still have that relationship with him, you know, all these years into the business where you've gotten to work together, you've worked under him, you've worked beside him, you know, you've worked apart from him as you tried to build your own brand and your own identity. And I feel like maybe it's started to come full circle to where it's okay, you're not just Dr. Jerry Punch's daughter now, but you have your own skill set, you have your own thing to give, so now it's okay to maybe collaborate with him, you know, stuff like that. What's your take on all that?
Yeah, well, first, I've said it my entire time working in anything, and especially in motorsports. My dad is wonderful broadcaster, but even better dad. Like, if anybody can even understand that, because it's hard to believe that he could be anything better than what he was as a broadcaster. But I am my dad's biggest fan, and so it is such a amazing blessing to be able to have this type of relationship with him where I can sit down and tell these stories. And you know, not, I don't even mean on camera, but just in general, sitting down, you know, in the living room, just talking, catching up, it turns into like story time hour, and we just it's I mean, it's such a blessing. I love to talk. Like, I truly feel like God said, like, here is you in an old man form, you know, sorry dad, but like, in a, you know,
He's catching strays. He even catches strays here on the pod.
see, look, where I was getting at and all that is that at the end of the day, he's still my dad, right? So we have this really cool relationship, but like, somebody's got to keep him humble, okay? And referencing the former wives, yes, he does have a few. And I bring that up again to say, I'm the only girl. So I have half brothers. I have 4 half brothers and a younger brother, 4 older half brothers and 1 younger brother. So I am the only girl. So as much as I am, you know, my father's princess, like everything, I'm
You're a
also the one that's
savage.
gotta, like, you know, keep him humble, right? Like, I gotta when it's necessary. The one that day on the card video might have been a little uncalled for. I'll take that one. That's on me. But somebody has to do it, right? But no, to
Uh,
answer your question, it's such blessing. And I will kind of use this as an opportunity to say too that for me, I think it's something that I've been embracing more in the last couple years, and in 2 ways, both publicly and a little bit even behind the scenes. So on a public side, when I first got into this industry, I was so adamant about not associating with my dad, building my own career. Of course, doing so with the utmost respect for everything my dad brought to the sport, but I never wanted to, for 2 reasons. I never wanted to feel like any of the opportunities that I got had anything to do with what he had done in his time, but also I
right.
never wanted anybody else to think that anything that I got was because of that. I realize more and more as I've grown in this industry that I can't control what anybody else thinks, you know, as much as I would love to. I've done what I can there to try to show that. And the older I get, like, life is short, man. Like, my dad, I just called him old. Sorry, dad. Well, here's another one. He's not young, right? Like, and I just, in the general scheme of life being short, like, I'm so blessed to sit there, and I'm in such awe sometimes sitting there telling these stories and hearing the stuff that he's accomplished and thinking to myself, like, have y'all heard this stuff? Like, somebody's got to tell this stuff. And then I'm sitting there like, wait, girl, like, that's you. You're
Yeah.
the somebody. Go tell this stuff. And I'm just at a place in my career where I hope that people can understand, or people would see that, like, anything I'm doing now to tell my dad's stories, like, if you think it's because it's for clout or riding my dad's like, please, I'm just born here, okay? I literally just live here. Like, that's all it is. Like, I did nothing to help save Rusty Wallace's life. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm in as much awe as you are over this story. Like, I'm one of you in all of this. So that's why I'm sharing this, you know? It has nothing to do with me. And I'm really thankful that I'm at a place now where I'm more comfortable doing that and being less
Right.
concerned about what other people think, because I've been around long enough that if you think I'm out here to do that, then you just don't know me, you know? But quickly, I also mentioned on kind of a private side, and I think it's important to note that it goes back to feeling a little more steady and comfortable with who I am in this
Hmm.
industry as a professional, because there were a lot of years there too where it was difficult, like, to have a dad that was so good at what he does, right? And he's
He
the
casts
best of the
quite a
best.
shadow.
And
Yeah.
right. And so even at that, it's hard. It was hard, I recognize, with him to sit down and talk work sometimes because I felt so much pressure, not from him, but that was putting on myself. Or, there was just, it was almost easier to combat that a little bit. And so the more comfortable I've become as who I am as a professional, and the more comfortable I've become with understanding that y'all can think whatever you want to think, I can't control it, sorry, this is who we are, the less time I'm going to let pass not being my dad's number one fan out loud, because life's too short. And what I'm going to look back and think, wow, I wish I'd loved my dad out loud a little more, but I was so worried about what people online were going to think. Really? No.
Love that answer. That
Thank you.
yes. Just all the yes. You're a savage still, but just all the yes.
So, I mean, I
That's
tried to
poor-
like soften the blow a little bit with like the daughter thing, but like, yeah, hey,
Ugh. Yeah,
gotta
you're
keep him
still a
humble.
savage. That poor man. And before I let you out of here, as we start to wind this down, that is something I wanted to touch on because I've noticed you doing a lot more. It just so happened when you abused that poor man that he was signing trading cards, and you've kind of gotten into trading card content a little bit more, whether it be specific to your dad and kind of like looking for his cards and reading off like the facts on the back of them, or just opening a vintage pack of 91 Winston Cup cards. What's kind of pushed you into that card, you know, crazy card world, if you will?
The trading card thing is interesting. Going back to the fact that I have brothers, 5 of
Mhm.
them to be exact. Trading cards, whether it's Pokemon cards, sports cards, anything, has always been in my life. But I also feel like it's becoming kind of trendy again a little
Mhm.
bit. Kind of came
For
around
sure.
to the forefront more on the content side. So the combination of those two things, really, like the nostalgia of it all, really resonated with me. I have a buddy who collects Pokemon cards, and when I, started hearing more about he was doing with that, I was like, I want in. Like, this is my childhood. So there's just this element of nostalgia that I feel like is what I love in anything that I do, like my podcast, my content, like everything is just so nostalgic and storytelling from the history side of things, that trading cards was just a natural progression of that ADHD activity that I'm honing in on currently. Like it'll all work its way around. The coloring books will make their way back out soon, but like my current fixation is trading cards, and the community that it's created through that nostalgia has been really fun. So I also
Love
say
it.
it comes from my love of print media. I love print media. I'm like huge on trying to preserve print media. We don't have media guides anymore, or they're all digital, like everything.
Right.
And so downstairs I've got a gross amount of old NASCAR magazines and things that I'm gonna be a hoarder one day, but I'll be the one to preserve print media, okay? Like, you're gonna have to
By
dig me out of
yourself.
my house, but like you can, I'll do it. It'll be me. But
I
no, I
love that.
think cards kind of go into that.
I love that for you. You really are. I tell you all the time, you are a gem. You're one of a kind.
Thank you.
Last but not least, my final question to you, and typically I pose it to my guest as, how do you define success? But we've already asked you that. So what I want to ask you is, since the last time I've had you on, has your definition of success evolved?
Yes, I think so. Um, I don't remember exactly my answer last time, but I can imagine what I would say. And I think in addition to that, making yourself happy is so important. I think that I was coming around to this the last time we talked. So it was forming in there, but for so long this idea of success for me too it was proving myself. It was having this accomplishment. It for whatever it was, whether it was the numbers, the hard work that was put into it, da 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 da, the list goes on and on for why this is successful. But I'm realizing the older that I get too, and the more self accountability that I have over my own career and the content that I make and where I go with what I'm doing in this industry and in this world and how I use my time, I'm realizing how much your joy in these projects is also part of the success. Like, you can knock out a project and it be great and do everything you need to do, but if you were miserable through the whole thing, like, it may still have been successful, but it would have been a lot more successful if it was something that was really making you happy. And I just think that for me, that's something I'm trying to really keep into check more and more, is how much my happiness actually factors into it. Because at the end of the day too, a happy J Punch is a more creative J Punch, and a more creative J Punch gives you better content. So it's all a cyclical thing.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. I know you're a busy woman, so the fact that you were able to clear some time for us means the world. I know to me, and hopefully for the viewers out there as well.
Well, thank you. I loved being here. Like I said before, when you hit me up again, I was so excited because I do love chatting with you, Jarrett. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
I told you you're the best friend that only texts me back like once or twice a year, but when you do, we have so much fun.
Perfect. See you at Christmas.
Right? Where can people get a hold of you on social media? Where can they see you roast your poor elderly father? And where can people catch you, this IndyCar season?
Oh gosh, my poor elderly father. He's gonna love that.
Yeah, he's gonna Dr. Punch is gonna kick my ass for that one.
Yeah, I'm giving that one to you. Okay. Nope. I said older. You said the E word, so that's fine.
I'll wear it.
No, you can keep up with me and my father, young and spring chicken of a father, over on our podcast.
Yes, even.
Yes, absolutely. We do have a podcast, Rolling with the Punches. And interestingly enough, I haven't really said this much, but a lot of our focus this season is on my dad. So in addition to having our interviews and our guests, I'm working on a series. I've been calling it the Doc right now, so working title. But you get it. I'm really working to tell my dad's story, so I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a good season. So keep up with Rolling with the Punches, and keep up with me on social. I am _J Punch, but if you search J Punch, I'm the one with the pink hair.
Yes, I love it. You're very vibrant, very spry, very energetic father. Can't wait to see him. And like I said, guys, it's not just blowing smoke up her ass. It's Rolling with the Punches is one of the most fun podcasts you can check out. So as long as you've already went through the Fans View catalog,
of course,
give her some love too. She's easier on the eyes than I am. I'll give her that.
Have you tried pink hair?
No, not yet.
I know a gal that can make it happen.
You know what? We're going to talk about that off camera. J Punch, thank you so much. I love you. I love having you on here. Guys, make sure to go support her. Check out her social media. It's hilarious. It's informative. Honestly, she's a badass and she's good at what she does. So make sure to go show her some love, guys. And don't forget.
Wait, can I say it?
Oh, go ahead. Go
ahead.
1,
I love you too, Jarrett. And 2, guys, don't forget to call your mom.
I love this girl. Don't forget, guys.
If you haven't liked or subscribed, you're going to be joking me.